Boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, NCAA College Football Week 13. Now, the rankings I have are going to be for AP poll. They're not going to be for the playoffs. I'm doing this before the playoffs are announced, playoff rankings. Week 12, I was 18-3 and win-loss. Against the spread, I was 13-8. Over-under, I was 9-12. Year-to-date totals, win-loss, 302 and 77. Against the spread, 195 and 222. Over-under, 214 and 203. We have 24 big games here for Week 13. Game 1, we have the 6-4 Illinois Fighting Illini versus the 20th ranked Ohio Hawkeyes. Hawkeyes are 7-3. They are favored by 15 at home. The Illini like to win big games this year. I'm picking the Illini to win. I'm giving them the 15. I have Iowa covering the 15. It'll be like a field goal probably. Taking over on the 46.5. Next up, we have the Sanford Bulldogs 5-6 versus the 12th ranked Auburn Tigers, who are 7-3. Tigers are favored by 48.5. I had the Tigers winning. The Bulldogs covering under on the 63.5. West Carolina Canamots 3-8 versus the 5th ranked Alabama Crimson Tide 9-1. Crimson Tide favored by 58. Tide wins. West Carolina covers the 58 under on the 61. Next up, we have the 8th ranked Minnesota Golden Gophers, who are 9-1 versus the 2-8 Northwestern Wildcats. Golden Gophers favored by 13.5. I have them winning, covering over on the 40. 22nd ranked Oklahoma State Cowboys. Let's go Cowboys! How about them Cowboys? I got the 7-3 versus the West Virginia Mountaineers, who are 4-6. Cowboys are favored by 7. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 60.5. Next up, we have a huge matchup out of the Big Ten. Now, like I've said all along, there was a chance to have 3 Big Ten teams with 1 loss after the Big Ten championship game. Those dreams have came to a nightmare. The Golden Gophers are 9-1. More than likely, they're going to represent the West in the Big Ten championship. The East will be either the 9th ranked Penn State Nittany Lions, who are currently 9-1, who go against the 2nd ranked Ohio State Buckeyes, who are 10-0. Now, as we know, say Penn State wins here. We have three one-loss teams. Obviously, the Big Ten championship. One of those teams gets 2 losses. They're done. Now, Ohio State wins here. Then you have Ohio State versus Minnesota. Ohio State wins. Minnesota's got 2 losses. Penn State 2 losses. We have a true Big Ten champion. They represent the Big Ten in the playoffs. That is more than likely the scenario that I would go with. So, right now, Ohio State is favored by 18. I have them winning. I have Penn State covering the 18. It's a pretty big number for a good team like Penn State. Taking under on the 56.5. That's pretty much going to eliminate Penn State from any hopes of making the playoffs. Then we're going to have a 10-0 Ohio State Buckeyes versus the 9-1 Minnesota Golden Gophers for the Big Ten championship. Ohio State wins. Boom, no controversy. A true Big Ten champion who more than likely, undefeated Ohio State, would make the playoffs. Next up, we have the Boston College Eagles 5-5 versus the 6th ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Irish 8-2. They're favored by 20 in this game. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 64. Next up, we have the Texas State Bobcats 3-7 versus the 25th ranked Appalachian State Mountaineers 9-1. Appalachian State favored by 30. Win cover under on the 53. Next up, we have out of the Big Ten. Last week we had Oklahoma beating Baylor, so we now have 2 one-loss Big 12 teams. 19th ranked Texas Longhorns 6-4 versus the 13th ranked 9-1 Baylor Bears. Bears are favored by 5.5. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 59.5. The same way here, if Oklahoma and Baylor go into the Big 12 championship game with 1 loss, Baylor can go, defend that loss they had to them and win and have 1 loss and go on. Or Oklahoma the same way, but then we have 1 true Big 12 champion with 1 loss. More than likely, if we have the SEC doing what it's doing, we have Clemson, Ohio State, more than likely the Big 12 winner will not be making the playoffs along with the Pac-12 winner. As of right now, I think we would have two SEC teams over a Pac-12 champion or a Big 12 champion. Next up, we have the 8-2 Louisiana Tech Bulldogs versus the 7-3 University of Alabama Birmingham Blazers. Blazers are favored by 5. I'm giving the 5 to Louisiana Tech. I got Louisiana Tech winning, covering, and over on the 46. Next up, we have the Texas A&M Aggies 7-3 versus the 4th ranked Georgia Bulldogs 9-1. Bulldogs are favored by 4. I have them winning, covering, and over on the 45.5. Obviously, it looks like Georgia more than likely will go with 1 loss and go on to the SEC championship game versus LSU. We have the 15th ranked Michigan Wolverines 8-2 versus the 7-3 Indiana Hoosiers. Michigan favored by 8.5. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 53.5. The SMU Mustangs 9-1 versus the 23rd ranked Navy Midshipmen, who are 7-2. Navy's favored by 4. I'm giving the 4 to SMU. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 68. 18th ranked Memphis Tigers 9-1 versus the South Florida Bulls 4-6. Tigers favored by 14.5. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 60. Next up, the Purdue Boilermakers 4-6 versus the 14th ranked Wisconsin Badgers, who are 8-2. Wisconsin's favored by 24. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 48. Troy Trojans 5-5 versus the Louisiana Raging Cajuns. Raging Cajuns are 8-2, favored by 2 touchdowns at home. I got them winning, covering those 2 touchdowns, under on the 70.5. Next up, we have the Temple Owls 7-3 versus the 17th ranked Cincinnati Bearcats 9-1. Bearcats are favored by 10.5. I have the Bearcats winning. I got the Owls covering the 10.5, under on the 46.5. Next up, we have the 24th ranked Kansas State Wildcats 6-4 versus the Texas Tech Red Raiders 4-6. Red Raiders are favored by 2.5 at home. I'm giving the 2.5 to Kansas State. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 55.5. Next up, speaking of the SEC, we have the 2-8 Arkansas Razorbacks versus the number 1 ranked LSU Tigers, who are 10-0. The LSU is favored by 44. I had LSU winning, covering, and Arkansas covering the 44 and under on the 71. So yeah, I could definitely see an LSU team win the SEC. LSU, Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, your 4 playoff teams. I know we have 2 9-1 teams out in the Pac-12. We have the 6th ranked Oregon Ducks 9-1. They go up against the Arizona State Sun Devils, are 5-5. Ducks are favored by 14.5. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 54.5. We also have the 7th ranked Utah Utes, who are 9-1, versus the Arizona Wildcats, who are 4-6. Utes are favored by 22.5. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 58.5. They face off at the Pac-12 title game. 1-loss team, Pac-12. I think the same. The Pac-12 1-loss team and a Big 12 1-loss team, in the committee's eyes, is less than a 1-loss SEC team. Speaking of the Big 12, we have the 5-5 TCU Horned Frogs versus the 10th ranked 9-1 Oklahoma Sooners. Sooners are favored by 18.5. I have the Sooners winning. I have TCU covering the 18.5. I'm taking under on the 65. Next up, we have the 21st ranked Boise State Broncos 9-1 versus the 6-4 Utah State Aggies. The Boise State is favored by 7.5. I've been winning, covering, and under on the 53.5. Last but not least, we have the 8-2 San Diego State Aztecs versus the 7-4 Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. Hawaii is favored by 3 at home. I'm giving the 3 to San Diego State. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 51. So that's going to wrap up week number 13 of the NCAA college football season. As always, thanks for watching the Robert Sports Show. Make sure you check out the CFL Grey Cup preview. Make sure you check out the NFL week number 12. In week 11 on the NFL side of things, yours truly was 13-1 in straight up picks. So if you want to check that out, make sure you check out Robert Sports Show over the last 4 weeks. I have a 78% win-loss record just on the win-loss picks. So I don't think that's too awful shabby. Now do I. As always, thanks for watching Robert Sports Show. Don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports channel content.